Everyone, Criticastr here, and today we're going to talk about the NGS headline that just dropped. And I gotta say right off the bat here that honestly, this is one of the best headlines that we have gotten so far. There's a lot incoming for April as a Slayer class right here, the 10th class for NGS, a new chapter, chapter 5, so more story, and a whole bunch of improvements and even new modes. So let's just take a dive into this and go through all of it. Starting off with April 5th, we have the new chapter of the story, which should finally give us some insight on what is even going on with this planet Halpha and the character Manon. This will also let us into the floating island in the sky, now given the name Lesiel, and it looks like we have a lot in store soon, which makes me even more excited for episode 2. Also on April 5th, we have a ton of new features and changes for the game just across the board. There'll be improvements to the rewards for the dailies and weeklies that we've discussed already in a previous video, where we'll be given overall more Meseta items and some SG every week. Then we'll be introduced to Arche, which will be our creative space guide. Not getting the creative spaces quite yet, but we will be getting tasked to help her out in preparation for it. For 7 and 8 star weapons, we'll finally be getting potential 5, costing EX cubes and a chunk of Meseta for more power, depending on the weapon. And then we'll be getting a huge number of quality of life changes, as I'll list here. HP gauges in Trainia, weather icons for different weather conditions, faster generation for add-on skills, the recruiting feature for alliances, auto switch lock-on, performance options, critical damage highlight display, resolution improvement for previews, linking looks to loadouts, new features to the ARC's ID, managing all color settings in the salon, adjust fixed camera zoom, a chat command to have all players face the camera, new category filters, extended storage 7, and music from your mag is no longer cut off by incoming urgent quests, and the transport truck trials now give extra PSC gauge in combat zones. If you thought that was a lot, there's even more. A new mission pass storage will be available to us, which allows us to store up to 300 items just of any kind, and it'll be available in all new mission passes from now on. All you have to do is get to tier 6, which is pretty early, and it gives you a 30-day ticket for this extra storage. And also for base PSO2, 16 weapon camos will be added to the Rising Weapon 5 exchange shop, which you can get through numerous activities. Then, for new fashion, we'll be getting the AC Scratch ticket Combat Classics, which has a variety of combat garb, tattoos, outerwear, and more. Next, though, we have the new class Slayer, which will actually be releasing on April 12th instead of April 5th like we thought. But it does look like this new class will be an incredibly strong one, wielding the new Gunblade weapon, and with its PAs, you can use directional inputs to change the attacks for different situations. They don't give us too much info about the abilities themselves, but SEGA does show some glimpses. For add-on skills, Slayer will have downed critical rate up, so more crits on downed enemies, which is great for bosses. And for a unique sub-effect, it will have a reduction to the cooldown on photon blasts. I don't think this sub-effect would be useful for boss encounters, unless if you have a ton of photon blast gauge generation from other sources. For class skills, we had a split-second look, which shows off some very interesting skills. Most are Gunblade specific skills, such as a focus gauge for Gunblade, Unleashed Rage active skill, and some other mobility ones. But what I notice is a heavy emphasis on criticals here, which may make Slayer the best class and subclass to use. A weird thing though is they are releasing the Gunblade weapon a week earlier than the class on April 5th, but I guess that's just SEGA for you. Along with Slayer though, there will be a SG scratch tied to it and a new mission pass. Now, though, we move on to the second half of April, where we'll be getting the second anniversary seasonal event, which will be much the same as previous ones, where you farm seasonal points for cosmetics and different items. The weapon series attached to this event is the Revita series, which is a Dark Element 8-star weapon, and with its potential, it'll have some form of HP regen. There's also a special scratch with this event, which has a whole bunch of new cosmetics, but also some previous seasonal event ones, which you may have missed out on. Then a limited time urgent quest will be available called Happy Rappy Rumble, where you kill 300 enemies as fast as you can to spawn a new resplendent AMS, which can drop some unique accessories. But also it can spawn in trials in the open world. A new mode called Duel Quests will be introduced as well, which are solo encounters with a harder version of each region's main boss, with a time limit and no revives. But you can get special cosmetics if you manage to complete any of these, and to help with the fights, you can also put on some new augments introduced with the seasonal event, which give a ton of potency and benefits exclusive to these Duel Quests. The AC scratch ticket for the 19th will be Armor of Darkness. This includes a dark palette or theme throughout with different suits, mecha parts, and more. Then another thing that I didn't expect at all is we can unlock level 6 potentials for our weapons on April 19th. You'll have to get new photon chunks though, which can be obtained from the new urgent quest and also on the 26th from various urgent quest bosses, as well as the upcoming 24-man limited time quest, Wetlands Interception. This quest will be just a back-to-back battle with Pettis and Nex Vera. Then for the last thing on the 26th will be a revival AC scratch called School Day Memories. That was the last thing for the updates. Now, though, we have the operation report, which had a few things. For the salon, some display settings will be moved together for ease in a later update. The search function for the personal shop will allow you to partially search for items finally and not need the exact name in the future. The cap will also be increased for Aegis Integras in the exchange shop. Max number of players in the creative spaces when those come out in June will be a whopping 100 players, which is just insane to me. So it's like its own kind of like town or city. And then they gave some background to why they chose things about the look and name of Slayer, if you're interested in that. And then for the last section here, we have some campaigns in April. For the first one on April 5th, we have the Team Up campaign, where just by joining an alliance, you can get the accessory Rappy Song. But also attached to this, there'll be some limited time tasks that you can do with your alliance to get some additional items. On April 12th, there is the Slayer Mission Execution campaign, where you can do a whole bunch of things tied to Slayer, leveling it up, do some tasks, and you get some emotes and the Renisa Gunblade weapon. Also on April 19th, there'll be the NGS second anniversary campaign part 1, where there'll be a special daily task where you can get star gems every single day, doubled login bonuses, a limited time quest offering the special scratch ticket prize slips, and more items later into May. That was everything for this headline. The next one will be April 25th, which will include all of the stuff for the month of May and more information on the creative spaces and maybe even more on the June Ultra Evolution update. Personally, I thought this headline was a 10 out of 10. I really am looking forward to a lot of the stuff coming out in the month of April. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next NGS video. Peace.